The desperate 8-day search for missing Australian bushwalker Lily Hooper has ended in tragedy, with the body of the 18-year-old discovered in the rugged wilderness of New South Wales' Southern Highlands. But the heartbreaking discovery was followed by an extraordinary and painful communication breakdown that briefly led Hooper's family to believe she had been found alive. For several agonizing minutes there was hope. After more than a week of searching, waiting and fearing the worst, the news appeared to be the miracle everyone had been praying for. Searchers had found Lily alive. Then came the devastating correction. She had been found dead. The tragic sequence of events has shocked Australia and added another layer of anguish to a story that had already gripped the nation. NSW Police later apologised for the misinformation, while NSW Premier Chris Minns publicly retracted his earlier statement that Hooper had been found alive. The cause of her death has not yet been publicly established, and police are preparing a report for the coroner. Lily Hooper set out for a solo hike. Lily Hooper, 18, left her home southwest of Sydney on the morning of Wednesday, August 12, 2026. She was heading into Nattai National Park, a vast and rugged wilderness area in New South Wales. The young woman was an experienced bushwalker, and her planned hike took her into the Bonham Pick area of the national park. But when Lily failed to return home that evening, concern quickly turned into alarm. Her vehicle was later found near the Bonham Pick walking trail, giving authorities a starting point for what would become an enormous and increasingly difficult search operation. The terrain around Nattai National Park is unforgiving. Dense bushland, steep drops, complicated cliff lines and difficult access routes can make searching for a missing person extraordinarily challenging. In a city, investigators may have security cameras, witnesses, road networks and electronic records to help narrow down a person's location. In the wilderness, a person can disappear from sight within minutes. A single wrong turn, a fall, an injury or an unexpected change in conditions can transform an ordinary hike into a life-threatening emergency. For Lily's family, however, there was still hope. She was young. She knew the outdoors. And somewhere in the vast Australian bush, searchers believed there was still a possibility she could be found alive. The massive search for Lily Hooper, what began as a missing person investigation, rapidly became a major multi-agency search and rescue operation. NSW Police coordinated the search alongside the State Emergency Service, Australian Defence Force personnel and other emergency responders. Nearly 100 Australian Defence Force personnel and approximately 280 NSW SES volunteers were involved in the search, according to reporting by the ABC. Search teams worked through dense vegetation, dangerous terrain and difficult cliff areas, while helicopters and other resources were used to expand the search. Police also deployed a thermal imaging helicopter and examined telecommunications information in an effort to reconstruct Lily's last known movements. Her family remained close to the search operation as the days passed. Day after day, searchers pushed deeper into the wilderness. 8 days is a long time when someone is missing in the bush. Every passing hour raises new questions. Did the missing person find water? Were they injured? Did they seek shelter? Did they become disoriented and travel farther away from the expected route? And as the search continued without a confirmed sighting, the enormous task facing rescuers became increasingly difficult. Still, nobody gave up. Hundreds of volunteers and professionals continued searching the Southern Highlands, hoping that Lily's experience as a bushwalker might somehow have helped her survive. The discovery after 8 days then, on Thursday morning, August 20, the search finally reached its devastating conclusion. At approximately 11:30 a.m., search volunteers located a body in dense bushland in Nattai National Park. Police said the body was believed to be that of Lily Hooper, although formal identification procedures were still to be completed. After 8 days, Lily had been found. But before the full circumstances of the discovery had been accurately communicated, a terrible mistake occurred. The initial information relayed from the search area indicated that Lily had been found alive. According to later accounts from police and emergency officials, the discovery occurred in thick and difficult terrain, and communication problems contributed to inaccurate information being passed along. Within minutes, that information was corrected. Lily was deceased. But by then, the initial message had already reached her family. And it had also reached the highest levels of the New South Wales government. 10 minutes of hope turned into heartbreak. The confusion surrounding Lily's discovery created one of the most distressing moments of the entire case. Her family was initially informed that searchers believed she had been found alive. After 8 days of uncertainty, fear, and unimaginable stress, the news must have seemed like the miracle they had been waiting for. For a brief period, there was hope. But approximately 10 minutes later, a more accurate account was relayed to police confirming that Lily had been found dead. NSW Police later apologized unreservedly for the error. Assistant Commissioner Joseph Cassar said the initial information came from search volunteers working in difficult conditions, and that a corrected account followed shortly afterward. The tragedy was not simply that Lily had died. It was that her family was briefly allowed to believe she had survived. That extraordinary reversal transformed a moment of relief into another level of devastation. Premier Chris Minns announces Lily is alive, then corrects himself. The communication breakdown quickly became public. NSW Premier Chris Minns was attending a parliamentary budget estimates hearing when he received information indicating that Lily had been found alive. Believing the information to be correct, Minns told the hearing that she had been located alive. The announcement immediately generated relief and excitement. After more than a week of searching, it appeared that the story was going to have an incredible ending. But the information was wrong. Minns was later informed that Lily had, in fact, been found deceased. He returned to correct the record and apologized for the earlier announcement, describing the corrected information as terrible news and expressing his sadness for Lily's family and everyone affected by the tragedy. The sequence unfolded publicly in a matter of minutes, turning what appeared to be a remarkable rescue into a heartbreaking recovery operation. A difficult search in some of Australia's most challenging bushland. Lily's disappearance demonstrates just how difficult wilderness search operations can be. Nattai National Park is beautiful, remote, and rugged. But those same qualities can make it extremely dangerous when something goes wrong. Dense vegetation can make a person almost invisible from a relatively short distance. Steep ravines and cliff lines can create hazards for both hikers and rescuers. Rough terrain can slow search teams and make it difficult to cover a large area quickly. A missing person may also travel in an unexpected direction. Someone who becomes disoriented can unknowingly move farther away from search areas. An injury can prevent a hiker from moving toward a trail or calling for assistance. Even sophisticated technology has limitations in difficult terrain. Thermal imaging can be affected by environmental conditions. Communications can be unreliable. Helicopters cannot see through every layer of dense vegetation. That is why wilderness searches often require hundreds of people physically working their way through areas meter by meter. The massive operation to find Lily reflected the seriousness of the situation and the determination of everyone involved to bring her home. The questions that remain while Lily's body has been found, the investigation into what happened is not over. Authorities have not publicly announced a cause of death. Police have said a report will be prepared for the coroner, who may ultimately help establish the circumstances surrounding her final hours. Until investigators release further information, speculation about exactly what happened should be avoided. There may be questions about her movements after entering the national park, whether she left the expected route, whether she suffered an accident or injury, and how she came to be found where search volunteers eventually located her. Those are questions for the investigation. For now, the facts are clear. An 18-year-old woman went hiking in the Australian wilderness. She did not return home. Her disappearance triggered an enormous search. Hundreds of people joined the effort. And 8 days later, she was found dead. A family's worst nightmare, perhaps the most heartbreaking part of this story, is what Lily's family endured during those 8 days. Every missing person case creates uncertainty. But a wilderness disappearance can be particularly agonizing because there are so few answers. Where is the person? Are they injured? Are they sheltering somewhere? Will rescuers find them today? Lily's family waited as search teams worked through some of the most difficult terrain in the region. Then, after more than a week, they received news that appeared to end the nightmare. She was alive. Moments later, they learned that information was incorrect. She was gone. The emotional impact of that communication failure is impossible to fully measure. Police have apologized, and officials have acknowledged the terrible consequences of the misinformation. The focus now is on Lily's family and allowing them to grieve after an ordeal that no family should ever have to experience. Remembering Lily Hooper was just 18 years old. Behind the headlines, helicopters, search grids, and breaking news alerts was a young woman who had gone out to do something she enjoyed: explore the Australian bush. Her disappearance brought together police officers, SES volunteers, military personnel, emergency responders, and members of the community. They searched for 8 days. They refused to give up. And although they could not bring Lily home alive, their efforts ensured that the search did not end with her simply disappearing into the wilderness. Her death is now the subject of further investigation. Her family is left to mourn. And the people who followed the search across Australia are left with the painful memory of a day that briefly appeared to bring a miracle before ending in tragedy. For a few minutes, Lily Hooper was believed to be alive. Her family had hope. Then came the corrections. 8 days after she disappeared into the rugged wilderness of Nattai National Park, Lily Hooper had been found. But it was not the ending anyone had prayed for. A report will now be prepared for the coroner as authorities continue investigating the circumstances surrounding the death of the 18-year-old bushwalker.